Okay, sir, now we can start. Let me, sir, give you some introduction, please.
Yes,
Good morning, students. Welcome to the expert talk organized by Chemical Engineering Department, School of Engineering, PP Savani University. Today we have amongst the expert Dr. N. Subramanya Rao, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemical Engineering, Gayatri Vidya Parishad College of Engineering, Autonomous, Andhra Pradesh. Let me give you a brief introduction to the profession and the career of Dr. Rao. Dr. Rao has completed BTech from Nagarjuna University, Guntur, MTech in Chemical Engineering from Sri Venkatesha University, Tirupati, and PhD from IIT Kharagpur in the year 2017. Dr. Rao has a wide experience of more than 15 years in the academic field and has taught various courses of chemical engineering to the students on various platforms. Sir has also guided various students of undergraduate on their various projects. Sir is having a wide experience and skill set on dynamic simulation and modeling and having hands-on various softwares like CAMCAD, Polymax, Proto, MATLAB. We welcome you, sir, to the expert talk here to be delivered by you at Chemical Engineering Department, and we are very grateful for your acceptance of the invitation. So now I request, sir, you can start your presentation, and we can have the expert talk. Please,
thank you,
sir.
sir. Thank you, sir, Jigesh, sir, for your kind introduction. Thank you for inviting me. I thank the college management, the university management, and everyone. Sir, is it visible my screen?
Yeah, it is visible and audible also, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Good morning, students, and myself, Subramanyam. So now I'm going to give you a lecture on the fundamentals of chemical engineering. Because why I have chosen is the reason is because in general, when we join a branch, whether it may be chemical, mechanical, or whatever it may be, in general, when we join, even we don't have complete idea what exactly the particular branch, particular discipline. So once we complete also, why we are studying these many subjects, why we are studying this subject, what is the importance of this subject. Like this, we will get a doubt. And if you don't understand and if you study, we'll pass the exams, we'll score also, but there is no use. But if you understand the importance of each and every subject, and then if you proceed forward, that will be very nice. So what I do is I'm going to discuss the fundamentals. So, what are the things I'm going to discuss? All are known to you. So, I'm not discussing the recent applications or like this. So, I'm giving the very basic fundamentals. So, the introduction part. Chemical engineering is the development of chemical transformations and processes using mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology to create efficient, economical, and eco-friendly products. Maybe the definition seeming like a broad definition, the big one, but I will explain that. So, what is the role of a chemical engineer? He has to develop chemical transformations. Chemical transformations means nothing but if you take a raw material and once the chemical reaction happens and you will get a product. And if you compare both the raw material and the product, they are physically as well as chemically different. Why we are changing like this? Because we need a particular product. From where you are getting the product? From the particular raw material. That means you are going to develop how can we convert a particular raw material into a particular product. So we will develop that. And process. So suppose if you know the raw material and if you know the product, but you cannot get the product by simply a magic from raw material. We have to develop process or we have to use the existing processes. So here, what are the subjects which will come here? Basic science subjects. In general, people have people have an idea that they have chemical engineering means, in general people have an idea that it is chemistry. People always say that I'm very good at chemistry, I don't like chemistry, that's why I don't like chemical engineering, like this. But it is a myth only, it is not correct. I think you all know that, at least the final year, third year people who already completed the subjects and all. So we have gone through all the subjects: mathematics, physics, chemistry, and biology also. Because biology means, in general, that is a specialized subject, but mainly we have these three. And what is the final? We have to produce a product. It should be efficient. Efficient means what? If it works properly, if it fulfills the need, then only we can call it efficient. Suppose you develop a catalyst. Why catalyst is used? To enhance a reaction. So if the catalyst is not able to enhance the reaction that much, then you cannot call the catalyst is efficient. Similarly, economical. Suppose you are very good at giving an efficient catalyst, but the cost of the process is too much. Nobody likes to come forward, so it should be economical. And recently in India, it is coming that it's eco-friendly. That means, actually, we in general we less bother about the environment, but we have to think about the environment. So whatever the product you are going to produce, that should not create any pollution. So that's why the product is eco-friendly. Okay. And next is design and develop a process or an equipment. So you can design, develop any process, and also any equipment. Just for 1 minute, please.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So here we have to develop a process, an equipment, and we have to optimize and control a process. Suppose if you develop a process, and how can you say that that process is correct with respect to the variables? So we have to optimize the variables. Variables means maybe temperature, maybe composition, maybe pressure, or something like that. With respect to those, that means at these conditions, the process is optimized. The process will give an efficient, economical, and eco-friendly. And also we have to control. Why we have to control? Suppose you say that these conditions are optimized, but how can you maintain those parameters? Because the moment you start a process, the parameters will be changed. So you have to keep the variables at a set point, that is called control. And also operation and management of a process plant. This, you all know that why we are learning all these things. Finally, we have to go to a plant and we have to operate. We have to manage the process in a particular plant. And environmental monitoring. We have to monitor the environment. That means whether our process is giving the toxic gases, whatever the emissions, we have to monitor. And what are the fields we have? Petroleum, petrochemical, chemical, bioprocess, energy, and all these things. I mean, I'm telling you these, not only these. Suppose pharmaceutical, we have bioprocess, we have chemical, we have electronic. Suppose you all know that we are using a memory card. Even the electronic chip also involves the operational chemical engineer. That means chemical engineer is involved in all those things. So this is a typical flow diagram which I want to show you. That means here, if you observe, if you understand this flow sheet, then you will understand the idea of an chemical engineer. Suppose raw materials. What are the raw materials? Those are the inputs you are giving. And can you get the raw products immediately? Get the products immediately. So the raw materials can be in pure form or in the impure form. From where you can get the raw materials? Suppose if you want to prepare metallic oxide, so we have to get the metals from there. Those are not pure. So how can you purify it? We have to use the unit operations. So I will discuss what are those unit operations. And once the raw materials undergo the unit operations, those raw materials will be sent to the reactor. What is happening in the reactor? Reaction takes place. And what the reactor will give? It will give the product output. Why I am telling output? Because you are not getting only a product. You will get along with a main product, you will get some byproducts. And also you will have some raw materials. Why raw materials are also coming? Because there is no 100% conversion. Definitely some raw materials which are not converted, they will come in the. Okay. Now you are getting byproducts, you are getting unconverted raw materials along with product, but you want only product. So what you will do? Again, you have to send to the unit operations to separate the product from the byproducts and the raw materials. And what we have to do the separated raw materials, we have to recycle back, and again we have to send to the unit operations if you want, and again we'll send to the reactor. So you will get more conversion. And what about byproducts? The byproducts can be used for other purpose, or also you can send to other plant. And why have included the controller? As I told you that every unit operation or unit process means here the chemical process that is in the reactor, that should be operated by a controller. Because why? What is the need of a controller? It can maintain the variables at the set. And what are the subjects we have? So we have unit operations, mechanical unit operations, and fluid mechanics, heat transfer, and mass transfer operations, transport phenomena. Of course, it is nothing but the combination of these three. Unit process, chemical reaction engineering, chemical process calculations, or you can call material and energy balance, thermodynamics, process equipment design, instrumentation and process control, chemical technology, chemical engineering mathematics, chemical process economics, process optimization and simulation. These are the various subjects. Coming to the mechanical unit operations, why have to study this? That is my objective. Okay, as the name suggests, you think that mechanical unit operations means it comes under mechanical branch, mechanical engineering. Why we are studying? No, it's not like that. Mechanical means we are studying the unit operations by simply nothing but the mechanical unit operations are nothing but the separations using by the forces, like mechanical forces. So we are calling it as mechanical unit operations, purely mechanical in nature. And what is the criteria? We will separate the solids based on size, shape, and density. Suppose you are given a solid of different sizes. So how can you separate? You all screening. You can do screening. So what the screen will do? The smaller size will go through the particular screen, and the coarser particles will be retained. That means you are separating the particular using a screen. And similarly, shape also. Even the particular shaped particles also can be separated, and also density. Suppose you all know that if the density of a particular substance is very high, it will go down. If a particular substance is having lighter density, it will flow. And what are these operations? Basically, we have solid liquid and gas liquid operations. Okay, what are solid liquid operations? We have filtration, we have centrifugation, and what is the filtration? You will pour the liquid as well as solid suspension, and what will happen? Solid will be retained over the filter medium, liquid will be collected into the receiving vessel. Similarly, what are the gas liquid operations? You all know that bag filters and all those. There, what you will do is you are sending the particular solid substances which you want to separate, and whatever the fine particles will be taken by the gas, and the larger particles will be collected into the bag. Okay, so now many techniques are there for this. Okay, what are the advantages of this? Plays a major role in dictating the quality of raw materials and product. Okay, if you don't do mechanical unit operations, what will happen? If you don't do mechanical unit operations and your quality of the raw materials and the products are not good, that's why we have to do the mechanical unit operations. All the mechanical operations we have sedimentation, filtration, centrifugation, all these clarification, everything. And here, size reduction, size enlargement. If you observe mainly the pharma or cement industries, you want to reduce the size or you want to enlarge the size. Suppose in cement industries, suppose you take limestone and there is a raw material, and you don't want to use the big size raw material. You have to reduce the size. What you are using? You are using crushers, grinders, and all those things. And the size enlargement. Size enlargement means in the case of pharma, suppose you don't want in the form of like very small particles. You have to make it in the form of a capsule tablet. So you are enlarging the size. All industries have these, and especially cement and pharma, I'm mentioning. Coming to the next one, fluid mechanics. And the study of behavior of fluids under rest and motion. Sir, Jigesh sir, is it okay, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So fluid mechanics deals with the behavior of fluids which are under rest and motion. That means what is the fluid mechanics we tell you? You can understand any fluid, it is under rest or it is in motion. And it also deals with compressible and incompressible. What is a compressible fluid and what is an incompressible fluid? Suppose if you apply some force and in general compressible fluid will respond immediately, that means there will be a change, its density varies. And incompressible fluids, they will withstand for the particular compressible the force. That means like you can have liquids, both all liquids are incompressible and the gases are compressible. It doesn't mean that you cannot say that all liquids incompressible. If you compress a liquid also, you can call it as compressible fluids. And both the liquids and gases are combined as fluids. Why we have to study this fluid mechanics? It is very important to study the flow of fluids in pipes. Okay, why we have to understand the flow of fluids in pipes? If you don't understand the flow of fluids in pipes, it can damage your pipes, it can corrode your pipes, and also that's why we have to understand the behavior of the fluids. And similarly, not only pipes, we can have pumps, compressors, reactors. The reaction, that means in the reaction also we have to understand how whether the fluid flow is a plug flow or whatever the like that we have to understand. So in all these things, we have to understand the fluid flow. And also in the mixing, suppose if you want to mix two fluids and whether the fluid is in turbulent motion and the fluid is in laminar motion, the mixing depends. Similarly on the separation also. Suppose if a fluid is coming at a very high flow rate and in the distillation, suppose what will happen is it cannot come into contact with the other phase. So you cannot expect any separation. So in all these things and design of flow measuring devices. So you can have venturi meter, orifice meter, rotometer, everything. Suppose if I want to design a device, so I should understand the flow of fluids. And similarly, other transport operations. What is the meaning of the last point? I have to understand fluid mechanics in order to understand heat transfer, in order to understand mass transfer. Why it is like that? Because the mass transfer depends on the whether fluid is moving or not. I will give an example. Suppose let us use a room spray. I have sprayed in the room. In that room there is no fan, and in another room I have applied the spray. In there fan is there. So will there be a difference in the both the rooms? So obviously, in the room where the fan is there, you will get the smell immediately because the fluid is moving, the air is moving. So because of the movement, the mass transfer also will be changed. That's why we have to understand the fluid mechanics to understand the other transport operations. Coming to heat transfer. In the heat transfer, we have to understand the heat transfer modes: conduction, convection, and radiation. As you know that in general, the conduction is mostly predominant in the case of solids. It also exists in the liquids. Conduction means the heat transfer by the vibrations of the molecules. Molecules won't move from their places. They will vibrate in their places only, but they will transport the heat from one molecule to another molecule. And in the case of convection, fluid, there is a movement, fluid movement will be there, and there is a heat transfer. And in the case of radiation, if the particular substance is at very high temperature, it can radiate the heat. So you have to understand the heat exchange between different bodies. Different bodies means suppose you're conducting a reaction in a reactor, and what happened is suddenly some heat is released, and where it will go? It will go to the surroundings. So you have to understand the how much heat is going out. So to understand that, you should know the heat transfer. And in the case of reactions involve absorption or emissions. Just now I told you that there may be emission of energy or there may be absorption of energy also. All the fluids and solids are heated or cooled. Suppose you want to preheat the feed, or if you want to cool a particular heat substance, let us have cooling towers. In the cooling towers, you have to understand the heat transfer also along with the mass transfer. So here, whenever there is a heating, whenever there is a cooling, so you have to understand this. Next one is preventing heat losses for adiabatic operations. So what is the meaning of adiabatic operation? In adiabatic operation, you don't allow any escape of the heat. That means what will happen is you will keep the heat within the substance. That means there is no exchange between system and surroundings. So here, in such case, you have to prevent the heat losses. And also to understand other transport operations. As I told you about the fluid mechanics, so the heat transfer is also linked to mass transfer. It's also linked to fluid mechanics. So to understand. And in the case of heat changes and all those, you have to understand the heat transfer. And coming to the mass transfer operations, the operations dominate in a chemical process. And actually, why I'm telling in a chemical process, these mass transfer operations are also unit operations. But what is the difference between mechanical operations and mass transfer operations? In the mechanical operations, you cannot separate any homogeneous phase. But mass transfer operations, you can separate like that. That means mass transfer operations are diffusion based operations. Those are not like mechanical. If you apply some force, there is a separation. It cannot take place in mass transfer operation. It is purely diffusion based operations. So here, how you will separate? Separation of components of a homogeneous phase also possible here. In the case of mechanical operations, so you can separate oil and water. How can you separate oil and water? Take a separating funnel for the mixture. Automatically, it will be separated into two layers. You cannot call it as a mass transfer. You have to call it as a mechanical. And what are the different mass transfer operations? We have distillation, we have absorption, extraction, drying, etc. And why we have to understand all these things? Because you have to design the equipment. I will give an example that if you are feeling some pain and if you apply some ointment, why you are getting relief? Because the ointment will diffuse through your body. That means diffusion is there. That means that there is a mass transfer operation. So here, and also the all transport processes are coupled, as I mentioned in the previous slides. So along with fluid mechanics, heat transfer, you have to understand the mass transfer because all the three are coupled. So I don't discuss transport phenomena separately because transport phenomena in general needs the help of all these three. And also transport phenomena is separately, whenever all the mass transfer operations takes place, then the transport phenomena will come into the picture. Suppose there is a mass transfer, there is a heat transfer, there is fluid mechanics, and you have to understand the transport phenomena. Coming to chemical reaction engineering, it is a unit process. So here Unit process means what? It is a chemical process. It's not physical. Physical and chemical, what is the difference? Physical change means there is no change in the material composition. But in the case of chemical, there is a change in material here. So here, conversion of raw materials into products. Okay, what are the different types of reactors we have? Batch type, semi-batch, and continuous. And here, all of you know that continuous reactors are mostly employed in the plants. And you will get a doubt. If continuous reactors are employed in the plant, why we have to understand batch, semi-batch? The first thing you have to understand is, if you want to design, if you want to understand a continuous process, it should be batch. You have to understand batch process. Suppose I think you are in the final year, some of you. So once you go out, then only the next batch will come. Then only it will become continuous. Otherwise, it is a batch process. So here, and also batch process means in the laboratory, whatever you are doing experiments, that is a batch process. And also pharmaceutical process is a batch process, because they cannot produce that product continuously, because it is very difficult to control, and also it's a costly process. So always, and also they will produce in very less amounts. That's why pharmaceutical and biological processes, they are in general batch processes. And semi-batch means out of the two phases, one phase is batch wise and another phase is entering continuously. And here, okay, why we have to why we have to understand chemical reaction engineering? Here, reaction can have a number of possible mechanisms to reach a product. What are mechanisms means what? Suppose I am starting from a particular place A. I have to reach place B. Suppose three ways are there. A to B, three ways are existing. I can go on any way, but I will choose the shortest way. In the similar way, reaction can take place using a number of mechanisms to give a product, but minimum energy pathway will be acceptable. So you have to understand the mechanisms. We have to determine the kinetics. Kinetics means what? How fast a reaction takes place. How can you say that a reaction is very fast? How can you say that a reaction is very slow? It is based on the order of a reaction. It is based on the particular rate constant. So that means if order of reaction is more, obviously we will have more production. And similarly, optimum conditions for a reaction. Okay, you know the mechanism, you know the kinetics, but where I have to conduct a reaction? Okay, why should I know the optimum conditions? Can't I get a product at any condition? You cannot get, because if you don't find the optimum conditions, what is the problem is, there are many side reactions take place, and because of side reactions, your product cannot be obtained in the particular amount. And also, maybe sometimes there is a problem to control the other reactions also. So that's why we have to find the optimum conditions to increase the production of your product. And also, once you know the mechanism, once you know the kinetics, you know the optimum conditions, you have to design a reactor also. And also we have to understand the arrangement of reactors. What is meant by arrangement of reactors? Suppose I have continuous stirred tank reactor CSTR, I have plug flow reactor, I have a batch reactor. Which reactor I have to use? You say that you have to use both CSTR and PFR. Okay, which one I have to keep first? Suppose you say that you have to keep PFR first. Somebody will say that no, you have to keep CSTR first. But who is correct? That depends on the kinetics, particular reaction and all. So then only you will understand the arrangement of the reactants. Next to the chemical process calculations. This is the very secondary, I think third semester people will have this. Chemical process calculations means material and energy balance. So chemical process means, in general, a chemical process has both physical and chemical change. And what are these changes? Accompany a mass change. There may be change in the mass, there may be change momentum, energy. And based on the change, we have to develop equations, momentum, mass, and energy equations. And especially chemical process calculations deal with material and energy balance. What is the meaning of material and energy balance? If a chemical reaction takes place, how much material is consumed, how much is produced, okay, how much energy is released, how much energy is utilized in the particular reaction. So you will understand that means whatever the calculations are there, along with this, whatever calculations are there, that he will do with that. Whatever the calculations are there, with the particular chemical process, you have to do with that. Chemical process means here you have to understand that in chemical process calculations, you will do the calculations for drying, you will do the calculations for crystallization, you will do the calculations for all other processes. So here you will study both the material as well as the energy of the particular process. Next is the thermodynamics. And here, all of you should understand this. Thermodynamics is an important subject. Very important, because most of the people really don't know that. Why it is important. Because it is the nature's consent and reality. What is the meaning of that? It is thermodynamics is the reality actually. What is reality means what? Just I will tell you that. Suppose you are riding on a bike. What is the maximum speed you can go? How can you know that? If you see the speedometer, if you observe your bike, and maybe maximum speed is 150. Since you know it is 150, you can go 120, 100, 80 or like that. If you don't know that, you don't know how to go to the maximum speed. That means the maximum limit, if you know, then only will proceed. Or if you know the minimum limit, then only will proceed. And who will give the maximum and minimum limits? Thermodynamics will give you that. Okay, I will give an example. Suppose I am doing a distillation. So I want to separate alcohol and water. I do distillation. I will separate up to some point. At one point, there is no further separation. Why there is no further separation? Because there may be azeotropic formation or there may be equilibrium reached. Once the equilibrium is reached, whatever you do, you cannot separate. So who will give that? Those limits are given by the thermodynamics. So thermodynamics is the crucial subject. You have to understand that. Next, conversion of reaction before it reaches equilibrium. Suppose I want to conduct a reaction. Where should I have to stop? How do I know that? To how much conversion I will get? Thermodynamics will tell you that you will get maximum disconversion. So then you will get an idea. Okay, this reaction is not that much feasible. So if I want to enhance the percentage, you have to think in a other way. It is simple like this. Suppose the distance between Delhi and Mumbai, nobody can change it. Nobody can change the distance between Delhi and Mumbai. But what we can do, you can take different modes of transport. Suppose I can go by flight. So within less time I can reach Mumbai. Or I can go by train, I can reach. Or I can go by bus, suppose I can reach. That means the times for reaching Mumbai from Delhi varies, but the distance is same only. That means thermodynamics will give the reality. But if you understand the reality, then only you will design. So all these things, conversion and selection of a solvent. What is meant by selection of a solvent? If you want to conduct a particular separation, which solvent I have to choose? Let us have air ammonia mixture. Water is the solvent. Why I have to select water is a solvent? Can't I get other solvent? Yes, you can select different solvents and you try with the other solvents, and thermodynamics will tell you that this solvent is good, this solvent is like this. So it will tell you about the reality of a particular solvent. Based on that also you can select. Okay, so maximum possible separation and minimum energy. And next is the design, and all the unit operations need the equipment to be conducted. So we have to design a reactor, separator, mixer. So all this. So the design, this is the design subject. You will get maybe I think in the final year. And you have to, how can you design any equipment? You have to calculate or you have to estimate. You have to estimate the particular dimensions using the correlations. How can you calculate? Already correlations are there. Already equations are there. Using those relations or using those equations, or sometimes no correlation is there. How can you design? So you have to depend on the simulations also. You perform different simulations and also you have to understand. And from experimental information, you have to understand. All this information will give an idea about design. And the last point, use of computer to facilitate the design more efficient. Just now I told that suppose if you don't have the a particular experimentation completely, experimental data is completely, then you have to depend on the computer. That means what? You have to depend on the modeling, you have to depend on simulation, then you can generate some data. Next is instrumentation process control. As I told you that whenever you are doing an experiment, you have to optimize a process. As I told you that what is meant by optimization means you have to control the parameters. You have to maintain the process at the given parameters. But how can you maintain that? Using the process control. But before going to process control, you also should know about the instruments. What are the instruments we have? Thermometer for the thermometer, thermocouple for measuring the temperature, pressure gauge, manometer for measuring pressure. That means all these instruments will give you readings, experimental readings. So what is the use of these readings? Once you understand these readings, then only you can compare these measuring values with the set point value. Then what you will do next? You compare with the set point, then you will find the error. And what the process control then will do? And a controller will take an action based on the error. What is error here? Error is the actual value, the set point minus measured value. How can you get the measured value? Measured value you will get by using the instruments. So once the things are there, then you can control with different controllers and also with different controlling actions. So that's why we have to study this subject, instrumentation and process control. Next, the chemical technology. This is completely the flow sheets and all. And as you know that whenever you go to any place, give a map to you. By seeing the map, you will understand how to go, where to go. In the similar way, chemical technology will give about the complete flow sheets from the raw material to the product. So then by seeing the flow sheet, you will understand what will happen in a cement plant, what will happen in a pharmaceutical plant, what will happen in a steel making process. That means to understand a process, the chemical technology will give all the operations, unit operations as well as unit process, along with the conditions maintained in a one flow sheet. So all these can be seen from the flow sheet. So this gives an overall view of major products along with the byproducts. Economics, as I told you that in the first slide, if you remember properly, you have to produce a product, efficient product. But what is the second condition? Economic also. So economics is very much important. So any process will be designed considering the primary factor money only. Even though you say whatever the factors in the first place, first thing will come into the picture is money. If you have a plan and you are a very good engineer, so you suggest a thing that, sir, this is very good. If you implement, you will get the best result. But they will ask you that what is the cost of that. Then they will proceed based on the cost. Definitely. So that's the first thing is economics. How to economize? So you have to economize an overall process, not the part of the process. What is meant by economizing an overall process? Suppose in distillation, can I increase the number of trays? If I increase the number of trays, I will get one benefit, separation. But what will happen is the load on the condenser and reboiler will be changed. And if I reduce the number of plates, then I will get the other option. So what I have to do? I have to optimize the entire process, total process. That means I have to optimize the total cost, not the cost of the trace or not the cost of the operating. That means you have to optimize the total cost. Total cost means fixed cost plus operating cost. Suppose you say that, sir, you follow this, you will have the less operating cost. But the fixed cost will be increased. If you reduce the fixed cost, operating cost is increased. So how to balance that? You have to combine fixed cost plus operating cost, and you have to optimize the total. Also, how can you do that? You have to understand all the factors of a process. That means whatever the subjects which you have discussed, you have to understand all those. And testing the proposed design before going to the construction. You cannot move to the construction directly. If you want to start a plan or whatever people who are already started the plan, they don't start within one day. They have to go with a design proposal on the sheets. So they will test the prototypes. Then only if they are okay, then only they will move forward. Nowadays, many softwares are there. So the design softwares, they will give an idea that to how much extent this is viable, this is feasible, like that. And optimization, modeling, and simulation. And as I told that optimization is always important. What is optimization? Here it is local as well as global search. Means what? Suppose I want to control by temperature, pressure, or composition. I have to minimize the temperature. I have to maximize the pressure. Suppose what I have to do, I have to search for the optimum conditions. So the optimization will tell you about the particular process optimization with respect to those parameters. So experiments, what is the advantage of experiments? Always give realistic information. But the problem with the experiments is you cannot conduct at infinite number of points, and also sometimes some hazardous situations are there. You cannot conduct the experiments. So then who will take care of that job? The modeling equations. How to develop the modeling equations? By understanding the theory, or you have to develop a model equation based on the experimental data. That means both the theory as well as the experimental data will provide you modeling equations. Then simulating them will provide the information. So what is modeling? Developing governing equations is modeling. What is simulation? Solving those equations. So whatever you are solving using MATLAB, whatever it may be, that is called simulation. But before simulation, what will come? Modeling will come. If you don't have any equation, how can you solve it? So modeling is okay. Now, what is our opinion? Experiments are bad. It's not like that. Experiments always give some information, realistic information. Without experiments, you cannot model also. What is the use of modeling equations? Once the equation is developed, once a model is developed, it will provide any values at any point where you cannot conduct experiment. So modeling equations are complementary to the experiments. Not like that modeling equations are good, experiments bad like that. And the mathematics, as you know that it is a long ways. Mathematics is a long ways to express science. Suppose you have you are talking in Gujarati, like to communicate with others. I am talking in my language. So mathematics is the long ways to express science, because you cannot express science after some time. You should go with the mathematical equation. Why we have to understand mathematics? What is the use of mathematics? Okay, chemistry is okay. Why mathematics? Because whatever all the equations are, mass equation, momentum equation, energy equation, all are mathematical equations only. Those are ordinary differential equations, those are partial differential equations. That means mathematics is coming into the picture. You cannot avoid. And also, suppose ideal gas equation, PV is equal to nRT, that is a mathematical equation. Any correlation is a mathematical equation. So that means you cannot avoid mathematics. Mathematics is there, inherent in chemical engineering. So what are the subjects you have to understand? Algebra, linear algebra, vector algebra, calculus, differential equations, integrations, geometry also you need, because to understand the flows and all. And also if you want to develop, suppose you are very good at coding, suppose you are interested in writing a program, so definitely you need the help of mathematics. You should have a knowledge of mathematics. And finally the electives. So just now I had with discussion with your faculty that sir, that he told that we are introducing the electives, the pharma also. So and all what you have to understand is, apart from the core subjects, you should always have electives. Okay, how can you select? Suppose my friend has selected this elective, I also should take this elective. It's not like that. You have to decide that in which subject you are interested. Suppose you are more interested in physics-oriented material science, nanoscience. If you are interested in a fuel, petroleum side, if you are interested in fertilizer, if you are interested in biological side, maybe you can go for bioprocess engineering. If you want to understand a membrane, you can take the membrane technology. If you want to understand the separations, multi-component distillation, if you want to understand energies, renewable energies, solar energy, wind energy, tidal energy, all those. No, if you are interested in a chemistry, catalysis, if you are interested corrosion also, you can have like this. So I did not include all the electives. So many electives are there. So electives are completely based on your choice. I think definitely some electives are there. So here I did not include the pharma as SR has told that the pharma also it is very good elective. So I want to conclude whatever I have discussed. So finally, I want to tell you, chemical engineering is an interdisciplinary field. It is framed to design a new process. So that means chemical engineering. Why chemical engineering is introduced to design a new process or optimizing an existing process. What is the difference? If there is no process, you have to design. That is your job. If process is existing, but you have to optimize that. So two things are there. Okay, which process? Is it chemical process only? No, no. Any process. That's why chemical engineer is also called process engineer. Suppose a chip is there, whatever the electronic chip. Even in the manufacture of the chip also, chemical engineer will be there. So any process engineer will be there, chemical engineer, because he has to understand the process. And what are the unique things? You need to handle design of a reactor in any process. Suppose a chemical reaction takes place, a biological reaction takes place. So who has to design the reactor? The job is only chemical engineer has to design. So next is involvement of engineers in a realistic production. Suppose in chemical engineer, you will appreciate if you work in a plant. Suppose when you are working in a petroleum or something like that. So when you see the product, you will get a feel that I was involved in getting a product. That means in a realistic production, you will have a chance to involve. Knowledge in many areas facilitates to choose a specific field. As I told you that chemical engineering is an interdisciplinary field. You are exposed to many subjects. You will get a chance to choose one subject as an elective also. You can move into that subject. It's not like that. What I have to do like that. So if you're interested in membrane technology, you go to that particular field. If you're interested in pharma, bio, or like that. And based on that, also nowadays you have machine learning in chemical engineering. That means those who are interested, sorry, those who are interested in knowing the algorithms and all those, maybe they are interested to code or something. They're interested to learn algorithms. You will have that chance also. And finally, I want to thank Jigesh sir for inviting and the organizing committee and all the department of your college, dean sir and all. And I thank all the students for patient listening. I don't know to how much extent I delivered. You can ask also questions if you have anything.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Students, you can ask the question by unmuting yourself, or you can have questions on the chat box.
Chat box also, yes.
See, I think I am very thankful to Dr. Rao, because it is a very high time for our students to sit in the placement lab. And
Yes, sir.
normally for the interviews, they need to revise all the subjects.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
this 45 minute was a quick revision for all the final year students, especially because we know that they may not open the books, but through this PPT, they must have again
Yes, sir.
recalled so many things.
Yes, sir.
So I'm expecting some questions from especially final year and pre-final year students, because they are right now learning these courses, or they must have learned these courses.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Exactly.
they can ask the questions.
Any
Student,
of
you
you?
can ask, please. You can have the questions on the chat box also.
Yeah, if you hesitate to ask, you can type it in the chat box. I will answer.
Sir, I have one question.
Yeah, yeah,
Sir,
please.
Yes, Ravi. Yes.
sir, can you explain? Can you give an example of modeling? Any example?
Yeah, very good, very good. Suppose simple thing. If you want to understand, suppose when you switch on a fan, you will get air, right? So you feel that you are feeling something, air is coming. So how to model that process? That means what are the, first of all, to model a process, you have to understand what are the parameters involved. Okay, and also what is happening. Suppose the moment when you switch on a fan, it generates air and it is coming to you. Once it reaches you, then you will understand, yes, I am feeling good. That means you have to understand the process, you have to understand the particular parameters. Okay, what are the parameters here? The speed of the fan, and how much distance you are from the fan, and at what elevation the fan is there, and what is the power input to the fan, all these things, and what about the wings, and is it a new fan or something like that. That means I'm giving an example. So once you know the parameters, you will develop a mathematical equation to the process. Okay, what is the difference between mathematical equation? Just I will tell you. I think you know the ideal gas equation, PV is equal to NR. That is a mathematical equation. Okay, what the mathematical equation will tell you? It won't tell you the ideal gas, but it will tell you that if it is a ideal gas, if you know its pressure, if you know its volume, if you know its temperature, if you know the number of moles, then those are related with this equation. That means equation will tell you in an indirect way, not direct way. Suppose I have seen a picture, it is very good. How can I express? I cannot actually express truly, but I will express in an indirect way. Yeah, this is very good than the previous movie, like that. So modeling is a another one to represent an actual process, but it is not. It never be actual. Modeling is always model only. Suppose I am seeing your picture. I did not see your face. By seeing your picture, I will understand how you will look like, but it won't represent completely whatever you are, but it will represent a part of that. So that means modeling is a representation of the actual process. It will help you to understand. Is it clear? Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. One question in chat box.
Yes, sir.
Nimesh Mishra, sir,
Yes.
how to know chemical reactivity of extracting solvent in extraction process?
Yes, very good question. So here in extraction process, what we will expect is only extraction. Suppose you are using a solvent. You don't know anything about that solvent. If you take that solvent and if you extract it, but what happened is suddenly you will observe that there is change in the product. How you will know that? Maybe you know the how much amount of solvent you are taking, how much amount of the other component you are taking, feed, how much solvent you are taking. You know that if it is a chemical reaction, and definitely what will you cannot directly observe by a simple experiment. You have to characterize the product. If you characterize a product, maybe by using a chromatography or anything like that, you will analyze what are the components present in the product. By seeing the components in the product, you will understand that okay, there is not simply extraction. Maybe there is some chemical reaction also. How can you say that chemical reaction? Because it is a change in the form of the reactant to the product. If there is no change in the particular form of the reactant, if the reactant form is as it is, you can say that there is no chemical reaction. Otherwise, you can say that yes, there may be some chemical reaction. That's why we are observing. Suppose I will give a simple example. Uh, we have taken three components, A, B, and C. If you do extraction, how many components should be present in the extraction? Only three only. The fourth component is coming means some chemical reaction has taken place. Because from where you will get the fourth component? You have taken only three components. How can you get fourth component? That means you will finally confirm that there is a chemical reaction. Is it clear?
Okay. Nimesh, is it
Yes.
clear? Okay. There is another question from Kushal Kapadia.
Yeah.
Sir, can
Yes.
you please explain a little on how is machine learning and artificial intelligence is useful in chemical industries?
Yeah, I will tell you that. Suppose you take cement industry. Cement industry. In cement industry, what you will do is you if you want to operate a particular like rotary kiln. Kiln means where there is a main reaction will take place. Rotary kiln. So what you will do is you will have already controller will be there. The controller will control. But even though you are not getting the right product, then what you want to do is why it is doing like that? Because the process is not static, it is dynamic. So the dynamic process, if you want to understand dynamic process, what you have to do is you have to introduce machine learning. What is the machine learning? What the machine will do? Machine will understand the first it will see the experimental data. Already experimental data is already produced because the cement industry is run from long time. By seeing the data generated in the past, it will understand the pattern. It will understand the relation between the different variables. Then what it will do? By understanding that, it will take the response. That means it will respond to the next situation. So by seeing the relation between the variables, it will suggest particular action. That means in that way, machine learning will help you. Okay, if you don't observe that relation between the variables, if you continue like that, you never improve the performance of the particular unit. But the machine learning will observe the history and it will suggest you an action in the future. How it will, to whom it will suggest? It will suggest to the controller. Automatically, machine learning algorithm will suggest action to the controller. What is the job of a controller? Controller always has to keep the value at the set point. Okay, is it clear?
Kushal, is it clear? Okay. Sir, another question from Abhi. Sir, as a chemical engineer, minimum knowledge of how much softwares of modeling and simulation one should have?
Yeah, good. The first thing I will tell you, first before going to the software and all, you should be very good at the core subject knowledge. Because why I'm telling you, in general, let us take CFD, computational fluid dynamics. It will give you very good pictures, color pictures. By seeing that, we'll understand by producing a color picture, we achieved something. But it's not correct. It's simply software. Any software does not know anything. It's simply a machine. If you give garbage, it will give you garbage. That's all. If you give good thing, it will give you good thing. So who should know that? First of all, you should have a good idea about the core knowledge. Then coming to your part, how much software and all. Minimum is MATLAB is sufficient. And coming to the plant, ChemCAD, Aspen Plus, suppose the petroleum plants and all, that is good. And different softwares are there. Suppose you are interested in the design also, we have different softwares are there. You are interested in the main process flow sheets and all, Aspen Plus, ChemCAD. And in general, if you are good at programming means it's not like that Java something. Minimum C programming and all, that is sufficient. If somebody asks about machine learning, even you can do machine learning algorithm with the MATLAB also. So that means if you can have a knowledge in MATLAB, minimum that is sufficient. Coming to our process software, ChemCAD, Aspen Plus, any other things, those are sufficient.
Is it okay, Abhi?
Is it fine?
Yes. Okay. Any questions further? If anyone want to ask?
Yeah, you can ask because maybe I was fast or something. I did not cover.
No. I think it is very smooth, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, so no further questions. So we are expecting that student must have again learned something, or we can say they have some quick revision today with the help of Dr. Rao,
Yeah.
especially for final year and pre-final year. And with this, we are very thankful to Dr. Rao that he spared some time for us far away from Gujarat. And sir has And we are very actually happy that this online session has been now one of the important platform, because if it will be difficult for us to call Dr. Rao on the campus, but this online virtual portal has allowed us to have interaction with you, sir. And on behalf of Chemical Engineering Department, School of Engineering, PP Savani University, I am very, very thankful, sir, that you spared some time, and the students have been benefited from your knowledge. And with this, we can close our webinar. And anything,
Thank you,
sir, you
sir.
want to say, sir?
Yeah,
Please.
yeah. Thank you, sir, and also to the students. Consult me, because I'm not only teacher for my students, for all the students. So through you also I will learn. Sir, please tell them even after the meeting also they want to ask.
Yes.
I mean, if they have any doubt, not only now, later also.
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
suggesting to not to ask you or others. Just I'm
Yes.
telling you that they
Yes.
can
Yes.
if they want also.
Yes. Yes.
That's my
Definitely.
intention.
Definitely.
Yeah, so
Definitely.
please don't hesitate to ask.
So this
Thank
is
you very
what
much,
the
sir.
support actually we
Thank you.
want in the
First of all, I have to
department.
thank you, sir. In every step, you have conducted everything very smoothly, sir. I am very happy, sir, that to see you
Yes.
again.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Okay.
students. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.